In London, to drive a traditional black cab, you first have to pass an exam called the Knowledge. You need to memorize over 25,000 streets and thousands of landmarks across the city, something that requires years of study. Neuroscientists actually put these drivers in MRI machines and found something absolutely incredible. The struggle of learning that map physically grew their brains. Their posterior hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for navigation, was significantly larger than average. But then they looked at London bus drivers. These people drive all day, just like the cabbers, but their brains showed no growth. Nothing. Why? Well, because bus drivers follow a fixed route. They're not navigating. They're simply following a path that someone else designed. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Today, we are all becoming bus drivers. I've been reading the data on cognitive atrophy, and it confirms my worst fear. We aren't just offloading our grunt work to AI. We're offloading our competence. Here enters the black box paradox. Let's look at the damage. So, the human brain is what biologists would call a metabolic hoarder. It burns a massive amount of energy to think. So, as a result, it is ruthlessly optimized to save energy costs where it can. So, what this means is that if you stop providing resistance, what educators would call productive struggle, the brain cuts the power lines. It is the use it or lose it principle, but for your neurons. A recent EEG study was conducted on riders who used large language models. When researchers forced these AI assistant riders to write without the tool in a later session, they couldn't simply turn their brain back on. These riders suffered from neural idling. They were literally lethargic. They had trained their brains to wait for an answer, rather than to develop one themselves. We used to talk about the Google effect, where we forgot facts because we could just look them up. Well, AI is the Google effect on steroids. In the tech world, this is creating the vibe coder phenomenon. You prompt the code, the AI spits out the answer, it looks right, and it runs. You get the vibe of the result, but you don't actually understand the syntax or the logic underneath. You might think, who cares? The code works. But the data says you should care. Look at the 2025 Stack Overflow survey. A massive 45% of developers reported that debugging AI-generated code now takes longer than writing it from scratch. Why is this? Well, you're relying on borrowed knowledge. You have become a senior architect who doesn't lay bricks. When the black box breaks, you lack the first principles physics to fix it because you never struggled through the build. But it gets deadlier. We like to think about AI as some sort of super consultant, a second opinion, but the research shows that when AI is confident, as it often is, we shut our brains off. It's known as the automation bias. In a recent medical study, doctors using AI for diagnosis saw their accuracy drop by 16%. When the AI gave a biased suggestion. Even experienced physicians surrendered their own judgment because the machine spoke with authority. This is the danger of the black box. We are identifying poisonous mushrooms with apps that don't know what they're looking at. We're deploying code we don't understand. We're navigating the world with a map we never memorized. We are understanding less and less of the world that we live in because of AI. So what's the play? Do we smash all the servers? Do we go back to writing code on whiteboards and navigating by the stars? No, that's nostalgia, not a strategy. Instead, we need to change the protocol. We need to stop being users and start being pilots. There is a concept called the Centaur Method, human plus AI. But for a centaur to work, the human has to be in charge. Here's a great principle to use. Friction is function. If you're using AI to code, you need to treat it like a junior developer. You never merge a pull request from a junior dev with no code review. If you can't explain why the code works, you probably shouldn't use it. So if you're using AI for research, demand glass boxes. If the AI can't cite the source, either verify the information yourself or reject the answer, no matter how confident it sounds. Don't let your hippocampus shrink. Don't become a bus driver on a fixed route. Use AI to move faster, certainly. Otherwise, you will fall behind. But keep the struggle, check the math, read the documentation, and be the pilot. This way, you will last in the long run. Build better, grow smarter. I'll see you in the next one.